Oh, look, it's the Genius Party.
What up, world? It's your man, AmpurSand. And right now, I'm rocking with the homie
Alt Willy, the one to get you moving and grooving. You know what it is.
And once again, this is the Genius Party Podcast. Thank you for coming back and tuning in with us, man. First episode was really fun. If you didn't catch it, you probably should. And again, you can catch the Genius Party Podcast on all streaming platforms or wherever you get your podcasts from. But yeah, we were just, interviewing the bros, last time, having some good conversation about our backgrounds and our upbringing and our influences and stuff like that, but today this is going to be, a little bit different. It's just me and Alton on the, on the waves today, you know?
So consider this y'all a treat. You getting an exclusive peek behind some of the greatest minds of hip hop in the area.
Listen.
We're gonna be sharing our thoughts. We're gonna be, going over various topics that we're finding, pertinent to this time. So, consider it a treat. And the way I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in here. If you spend any time around me, I'm always asking these very unique questions. So, AmpurSand, you'll now be a part of a member of this club of being on the receiving end of one of my very unique questions when I'm talking to people. So, if you had to name this current chapter of your life after an album title, what would you name it? And to give you time to think on that, I'll go ahead and jump in with mine. So this current chapter of my life, I'm naming that after the album Business as Usual for EPMD.
I love it.
Because on the business side of things in my personal life, I'm making those strides there, playing the corporate game. Sometimes I don't want to play the game, but you got to do what you got to do, right? I can only control what I can control. So everything is towards a goal for me. So it's a means to an end. And just continuing to be an autopilot, right? Trusting all of my training in life that got me to this point. Despite everything I've been through, I was able to get to this point. So just kind of using that to fuel what's going on in my world, thus business as usual. So now that you had time to think, the Jeopardy theme music is
it wasn't enough.
Gone.
It wasn't enough.
What you got?
Honestly, right now, I am in a interesting season. So I was gonna say things fall apart, but that is not that is not where my my life is right now. I feel like I'm in another roots phase, I would say undone. Right? Because I'm currently, going through my own mental health journey, and I'm learning more about myself and what exactly I need to do for myself to make sure that I'm on top of my game. So I'm having to unlearn and rewire like my brain in certain ways, and just really stay more present with myself. And likened to that album, it's just like I have to deconstruct, where I'm at now from like where I started, which is the reason why I love that album. You know what I'm saying? Because they took I Gave You Power, and then just did it in reverse. It was so good. I love that album. I love that album.
I feel you. I mean, did you have a honorable mention in mind or any backups? Or you good?
Bad Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Nah. Life is good. Life is beautiful, even when it's rough. So.
Nah, I feel you. My honorable mention was Reasonable Doubt. I think.
Okay.
Just because there's always this inner war between ourselves and our destiny, where you kind of have those doubts that are happening, but they're reasonable because you're having a human experience.
That's
right?
very, very true.
So understanding that, we always have this duality of thoughts going on. Some people like to say you have the angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other shoulder, but I think it's just the different frequencies that everybody has going on. And you got to do your work to tune into the right one.
I mean, I agree with that, and I don't know. Like, I think the angel and devil thing is funny. Because I've learned to look at it like, what do you want to do and what do you need to do, right? Because that's really what the thing is. Like, should you do this thing, or like, do you want to do this other thing? Like, and that's like, I'm just also practicing reframing. You know, again, it's all that rewiring stuff. So yeah,
no,
that's
and,
cool.
You know, speaking of rewiring in the technology world, there's a little rewiring happening right before our eyes. The past almost 15, 20 years around the buzzword of the decade. I know y'all want to hear it one more time. Artificial intelligence.
AI.
I know that. Yeah, we're not talking about the answer AI. We talking about artificial intelligence. But shout out to AI. Shout out to Bad News Virginia. You know what it is.
Shout outs to Common.
Yeah, but so yeah, I know you had some thoughts around the you know, what's happening around AI, the environment. You know, thoughts on where we're going, where we are, especially as it pertains to maybe the music industry, or just your personal viewpoint on the various intersections of AI.
Right. So I've kind of been just jumping into the subject more recently because, you know, I really do care about artistry. I do care about creativity. And when I first got onto it, I was just like, oh, okay, this is cute. I can type a sentence or a series of sentences and then make or have this thing generate some thing that I wanted. Like that's a really cool thing. Like objectively, if that is something you are not rocking with, I might question your mental faculties a little bit.
Right.
But unless it's a whole different thing for you, like if you enjoy the process, right? But then it's actually funny. There was a post of ours on the Genius Party where like somebody had made something of us and it was cool. It legitimately was. Mm-hmm. And the post is still on Instagram. And then, you know, I had a conversation with one of our other esteemed geniuses, and they kind of put me onto like the negative side or the dark side of AI. And I've kind of just been jumping into that because, you know, I understand that it's a tool first and foremost before I run into all of that. I think it has amazing possibilities, but I don't trust human beings. So that's where that part comes in because especially
sound like Thanos, man.
I mean, no.
I'm messing with you.
You know, no, I feel you. Like, look, listen, I wish I could snap my fingers.
Snap your fingers, do your step.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
nah, but no, man. I started looking at where this stuff was starting to pull all of its information from to be able to do these things. And that really kind of had me worried about like visual artists at the time. And I wasn't even thinking about music until more recently when people started making these like AI songs on their on their phones or computers. Like I had a coworker play a AI song he did like when the CrowdStrike thing happened. It was a country song about how the whole thing went down, literally. Yeah. So, and I was like, nah, I don't like this. This is scary. It was almost like an audible version of like the Tupac hologram. So like, because that was freaky. I don't care what you say. Yes, I admit that it is a modern marvel. It is a beautiful piece of technology. And that's coming from somebody with like a professional AV background, right? But there's some things that we should just not touch, in my opinion. And the dead is one of those things. But you know, I've been looking into data centers and their effects and where those data centers are put and what, you know, like the environmental cost of all that stuff and you know,
the environmental racism that's going on.
Amen.
Just Google what's happening outside of Memphis,
please,
and look at that.
But I've also been reading articles, and one of the articles that I came upon that I probably thought I'd share with y'all is about AI-powered music production platform Lander acquiring, you know, Stockholm-based DAW developer Reason Studios. So any of you Reason fans out there that y'all use it or y'all love it or like y'all, that's what y'all came up on, you might want to take a look at this. I got this from musicbusinessworldwide.com. But yeah, it's basically about So I guess I'll just read it. The deal announced Tuesday, January 6th, brings together Lander's AI-powered production tools with Reason Studios, digital audio workstation, Reason DAW, and Reason Rap, known for its modular approach and signature sound. Following the acquisition, the Stockholm-based Reason Studios will continue operating under its own brand. Now, like, that's cool because, you know, like, we're seeing a lot of like DAWs and everything like that come with their own AI like loop thing. Like, I know Fruity Loops has been kind of doing that more recently, where you can just search for whatever loops that you want, mood.
Yeah. Or Output has one with their co-producer product.
Yeah.
Which really is just a index keyword of the already existing database of sounds and loops that they already have.
Pretty much.
So it's yeah. But anywho, go ahead.
Yeah. So like one thing that I worry about with AI is it kind of taking away from creativity. I know that's not necessarily like a real thing because people are going to create regardless. Mm-hmm. However, when technology comes, I feel like there's this ratio of give and take, right? Like when you look at the advancement of musical instruments, down the history of human civilization, all the way up to synthesizers, and now like digital audio workstations, and now AI being involved in this. It's I feel like we've gotten to a point where like we're giving more than we're taking away from it. Like we're not gaining any skills or any tangible skills. And that's kind of like, because if those servers were to ever go down and EMP destroys all of that, what happens then? Can you produce that, you know, stadium pop country parody song? Can you have your funny like Isley Brothers, you know, black exploitation sounding like AI song? Like, so what happens to the music industry? What happens to all these like charts and everything like that? Like who gets bumped up, who drops? Because like we're everybody's competing with AI artists now. So I just think there's a whole lot more to speak about on it. Instead of it, you know, utilizing it as just a tool, we should also see the power of that tool and what the capabilities of it are, and see that through thoroughly before we commit. But I feel like it's just this gold rush mentality that tech companies are on now, and I don't know. I feel like that's just gonna get us in a really, really crazy position. But that's just my rant, my spat on AI.
Do you think there's an AI bubble?
Yes, yeah. Because I mean, it's there's only so much AI slop that people are going to gravitate to. There's only going to be so much that people are like entertained by. At best, I'm sorry, y'all. Like this technology, in the way that we're currently using it right now, is really for the scammers.
Yeah,
it really is.
I can go on a whole tangent about that because I work in cybersecurity, so I'm seeing how the fraudsters are using it. There are even songs out there saying, "Hey, this is what you do."
Bro.
Even just like from a fraud standpoint, and it's on banging too. Like G4 Boys got a song called "Local Scammer," and they used to be like my joint. I'm like, wait a minute, they trying to put like my job in jeopardy. But when it comes to AI and it being a tool, I kind of look at it as trying to remember. Fonte said, like one of my favorite rappers, he said, "Money doesn't change; it just makes you more of what you already are."
Yeah, shout outs to you, Tay.
And so I feel like with AI, it's kind of like that. Like it is a tool, but how you use it is basically just a telling of who you really are, what your intentions really are. Like at your core, what is that value? Are you just using it to have this edification of self? Well, now we know what you're all about. Not really helping anybody else.
True.
The edification of self, or the desire to learn to help others. Like people may be using that as a tool. Where like even in the financial education industry, people are trying to put together all these AI learning techniques. I've seen people plan out their trust from like estate planning, be able to pull those things in. So how you already approach it is just going to exemplify, or not exemplify, but just basically highlight who you really are, what you're really all about. And if I log into Facebook one more time and see,
oh my God,
the random BBL on, you ain't got that BBL on a regular day, but now you all of a sudden got one on Wednesday. Then you all of a sudden 6'8" on Wednesday, but you was 5'4" yesterday. Like at least give us something believable. Like it's getting out of hand, and I get it. We all want to explore new technology, so I don't want to, come from like this soapbox pedagogical thing. But I always say it like this: if you go decades from now and your grandkids are asking, "Hey, you were around at this pivotal point in time in history. How did you embrace it? What did you do with it?" And you'd be like, "I just put wings on your grandma on Facebook for her obituary.
Oh man,
I didn't use it to learn to plan out a legacy.
Yeah.
I didn't use it to."
Yeah.
So it's like we're at this pivotal moment, and everything that you do either adds or takes away from your story, and AI is just a tool to do that. So that's how I view the AI world.
No, that's real. Because if anything, I feel like AI should be a tool for us to learn more efficiently than anything. And I think that's more of a cultural thing, because I think once you go across the world, you'll see the internet used in a different way. You'll see AI used in a different way.
Oh yeah, I mean,
in ways that are more edifying for the actual citizens of the globe.
Yeah. But outside the U.S., internet resources are nationalized, not privatized by corporations. So you ain't gonna do but so much. You going on certain countries' internet, it is heavily monitored, and everything is nationalized, which is basically owned by the government over there. So you can talk spicy if you want. Your internet ain't gonna work no more all of a sudden, Hey, govern yourselves accordingly.
Hey, listen. I love. Listen, we are running a podcast. Yeah. I love my free speech. But at the same time, I feel like that would be nice here, right? Especially with the Constitution being a thing. But I'm not even gonna get into that because God, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But
big yikes on that. But we'll pivot a little bit here.
For sure.
So Bruno Mars recently dropped his new single. And if you remember the Sonics from that Silk Sonic album where he was with Anderson .Paak.
Yeah, where they took us back in time.
That analog sound. So I watched it yesterday. Anytime I check something out, you gotta check it out in like the right speakers, right? But he had the video released for it, in which it basically has this like little like 70s look, 70s sound. I mean, I don't know. I liked it, right? But it just got me to thinking that I feel like there's this shift that's happening in not just the music industry, but in humanity, right? With the things that we really value, where people are kind of going back to the old. And what I mean by that is that analog sound, or even the ways that we consume music, right? So for those of you who aren't as like tapped into some of the headlines, there's a archiving group called Anna's Archive. Some people may say it's like piracy, but it's archived. I'll just say that. Creative archiving. So they allegedly stole and exfiltrated over 300 terabytes of music from some streaming platforms and brought it onto their platform.
300 terabit, like the Boondocks, like where Thug Nivison used to live, or like Terabit, Georgia.
And that might have been a compressed version. Yeah. But just to show you that, like, okay, if these streaming platforms go down, how do you consume music? And so, I've started to dig into some articles and just seeing how people are consuming music now. And for the first time in pretty much history, older music that is decades old is outselling new music, as well as more people are purchasing vinyl more so now than actual digital music. So what are your thoughts or commentary around that? Did you see it coming? Why do you think people are moving backwards in terms of how they consume music?
One, because trends always come and go. Things always roll back around. People always keep love. Nostalgia is always going to be one of the most powerful things in the universe. I truly feel, and it was always going to come back. Like when, like what, the low cut jeans when we was in high school, like girls just wearing that. Like that was a thing back in the 70s. Yeah. Like girls was wearing bell bottoms. When we was coming up, look at the way we do these like throwback things. It's like as far as like our weeks in like high school or whatever. We got the kids looking like us when we was coming up. Man. Yeah. So like I don't appreciate
the fits be looking nasty, bro. Like I was cool with mine. They had us looking outlandish, like Thugnificent, basically.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You go and look at those Spirit days nowadays, man. But
shoot, like they even had like the girls brought the jersey dresses back. I ain't seen them joints in forever. But granted, that was a moment in time. That is something that can live on. What a time to be alive. You know what I'm saying? It was a great time to be alive. But I always knew this stuff was gonna come back. Like I love vinyl records. I wish I could get my hands on a cheap Betamax player that's working and like try to find those. But you know, like I love CRTVs. Like those are being used as like novelty, like display pieces now. So like all that stuff was going to come back. But at the same time, I think capitalism is doing something new in the way that it's pushing all of this new stuff on people. And it's just like, we don't really feel comfortable with it. Like at this point in time, it's just like, all right, cool, sure. But like, I'm kind of wanting to go to like live concerts now. You know, I want to see real people play like real
people
instruments
to
perform. Exactly.
You can't get that with an AI artist.
You cannot.
You can go to the concert and they put the little projector down.
I mean, it'll look cool. Like, trust me, it'll look cool. I'd love to go to like an experience like that at least one.
So you get the like Windows blue screen of death.
You know what I'm saying?
Concert, man.
Because look, listen, gear fails all the time. Gear fails all the time. I've seen some shit. I've seen like video walls that were like theater screens, like big, like fail in real time.
Yeah.
While the show is going on. So like, nah.
While it's going on.
Like, so, and if your internet ain't right either, it's gonna be bad too. So you gotta make sure you have all of that stuff. It's just so much when it don't take that much to connect to people, man. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I think that opens it up to a bigger thing about connection and the lack thereof. Anytime you go on social media, a lot of people are saying, oh, there's this like loneliness epidemic. And I think it's partly true because people lost the art of connection, the art of conversation, which kind of plays into people yearning for quality in things, quality in their friendships, conversation, even in their music. When we're thinking about one of these reasons why old music may be coming back, people want depth. And once again, even the way they consume music, you're now seeing people buy iPods off of eBay now. People are trying to go and find theirs. I found my old iPod, plugged it in from like 2011, and it had like White Owl City mixtapes. Like it was very interesting. Shout out to the Iceberg Straight Ahead drop that used to be on the mixtapes back then. A lot of Gucci and all that, man. So it just goes to show, like, first when you plug in the iPod and you look, you'd be like, dang, what was I listening to?
Okay, I was about to say, all right, that's that, because like, yeah.
It was
that's crazy.
So the one I had was from like 2011, so it wasn't like one of the early ones. So it was a lot of, like, around that same time where like New York was coming back. Where I'm trying to remember everybody that was kind of on in that time. It was like that Ron Browse era. Like
Joey Badass, Fred the Godson.
Yeah,
he was one of them.
Yeah. So yeah, just a lot of Gucci. I had a lot of Little Brother on there at the time. I don't know. I had all of them. Just even Ice Cream Paint Job.
Joel Ortiz.
Yeah. So like iPods, I think, like, especially I'm a big proponent of prepping, right? If the internet went down, how would you get your music, right?
Yeah.
So once again, I'm always constantly looking for like compilation CDs on eBay. There's even places where DJs get their music. Where shout out to Soul Seek. I know they're gonna be mad that I said that because I'm sharing it, but there are platforms out there where, you know, people are just sharing these nuggets that really are these tiny windows of time known as music. And I also recently bought kind of like a digital Walkman for a company called Hi-Buy. It's really dope.
Okay.
And they give you like great sound. That's another thing about, you know, this is a music podcast, so we're also kind of audiophiles, right?
Of course.
The way that Spotify and all these other places compresses your music, you're missing out on like a whole nother set of experiences. It's like you only get to see 75% of a rainbow, right? But when you have music actually on your phone, the file, it sounds better.
Yeah, it does. But again, also, the more mediums you go back, the better it sounds, right? Like, yeah, you love your MP3 player. Like, you love your MP3, but your MP3 is cutting out more characteristics from the recordings. Like, if you go back to tape sounds a little bit more warmer than an MP3. An MP3 is just straight digital, so it's very clean, but the character gets lost in there. And then, like, again, you got your vinyl records, and then the original way of consuming music was you had to be there. So, like, and then it wasn't going to be the same every time. So, like, it was something special about that. So, yeah, it was always going to bounce back. Because people get tired of stuff. People get, like, and the weird thing about it is just even with AI involved, AI is only training off of things that already exist, and we need artists to keep pushing the envelope. So that's why we need artists to keep pushing the envelope. Like, So yeah. But I think that also plays into so many other things like artistic integrity and experimentation and development. All of that stuff is important now more than ever, because I feel like that's what's gonna make you stand out, because that's really the name of the game now.
Easier said than done with that standing out. But
sir.
Another, you know, pivot here, you know, speaking of standing out, in pre-production, we were sitting up here talking about, you know, okay, what are some things you really want to include in order to just kind of add a little bit more fun, but also get a level of insight into the way we think and our influences on music. You know, I'm asking the question that if you could take a pocket of time, let's say either 5 years or a decade, and you had to pick which one had the best bass lines or the biggest impact on bass, which one would you choose? Because you have like the 70s, right, where you had people like Larry Graham, all those people, slap bass, all that. Then you had synthesized in the 80s, but then you had late 80s where you had the 808 and even like Miami bass music, Atlanta bass music in the 90s. And then you just got the heavy 808 culture now of like the 2000s. So, you know, in your opinion, you know, which decade, you know, bass wise does it for you?
Bro, it's a tie between the 70s and 80s. It's 1A, 1B, because you had too many amazing legendary bass players. Because I play the bass. Like that's my instrument. Like that I'm dedicating most of my time to learning. So Jocko came up in the 70s and 80s. Like that's my favorite bass player of all time. So for the
people who don't know who that is, what's his full name?
Jocko Pastorius, the baddest bass player that has ever played a 4-string bass ever.
I agree.
Ever. You're not. Matter of fact, y'all love SWV's Rain. You heard Jocko Pastorius, and Rain by SWV sampled that song or interpolated it because they had to like replay it. But they took the bass line from a Jocko Pastorius song called Portrait of Tracy. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. And what they did with a beat machine or like drum machine, other like instruments or bands, Jocko did on the bass alone. He played the melody and the bass line at the same damn time.
At the same damn time.
And
playing chords at the same damn time.
Yeah. But no, like nobody was doing that before him. Nobody was. He's, and I love to say this. He is the Jimi Hendrix. Like he is the white Jimi Hendrix of the bass guitar, in my opinion. Nobody's advanced it further or pushed it further than Jocko, in my opinion. And then after that, it's Thundercat. But yeah, it's got to be the 70s and the 80s. You had funk, you had like all different types of R&B.
Unless you're going from like 77 to 87, to me that's the like the best span.
Okay, all right, yeah, 77 to 87, right? Because like when I think about Jocko, I think like all the Weather Report records, and then the stuff that he was doing with, because the stuff he did with the stuff that he did with Joni Mitchell was also amazing. But like, yeah, I have to say the 70s. I have to, if I had to choose, it's the 70s.
Yeah, you had like Boots Collins and all those guys.
You had Bob James. You had like Genesis was the 80s. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, part of me still like the 80s too, though, because I mean, you had like the evolution of even Michael Jackson's sound. It's still like as much as it was percussion driven, that bass line gets you through it. I know that you had like Thriller in the area. I forgot what year Thriller came out. Was it like right on the cusp of like 70?
It was in the 80s. It was from the 80s. I can't remember what. Hold on.
Because it was the synthesized bass. So like as much as I love the 70s, it's like you're able to get so many more characteristics by the time the 80s get through. And just between him and Prince trying to outdo each other in their sound,
82.
You get all these other things. So me, I'm gonna say that the 80s built off of the foundation that the 70s, brought on, where the tempos are much faster. You still had disco that was kind of tapering off, but you had the funk era taking off. Just so many different things. And then it was also regional on top of that. Ohio funk sounded different than LA funk. There's also Miami funk, Detroit funk. Like you can go down the rabbit hole fairly quickly there, but I'm gonna say the 80s.
Okay, and that's fair. And because the crazy thing about it is, and to come back for the 70s, like culturally, like it even gets expanded out, because like you're starting to get like punk records and stuff like that. You're getting into like also
reggae and ska.
Yeah, reggae, ska, even like krautrock was giving you like some really cool stuff at the time, like you know what I'm saying? Like so yeah, it's the 70s for me. But that's a fun little thought exercise, man. That's a fun thought exercise. But all right, so with that being said, what would be the bass player? Well, I mean, you know what, with that being said, as far as like the decades and stuff like that, what bands would you kind of like lean into? Like what would be the ones that you would see in the 80s that had that bass player that was doing like crazy stuff that makes you say that, I
mean, definitely trying to remember the name of the band. They had Morris Day, Prince's group.
Morris Day and the Time.
You had I'm trying to remember their name. There was a group called D Train that was great. You had the group called Slave. Classic. The KGs, they had some cool things going on. That's like one of my favorite groups that I just only recently found out about, the KGs. If you go and listen to that and you hear just like the warmth on that, on their records, it's incredible. Then I'm trying to think of some of the other bands because I know that there's when I'm thinking about the ska and the reggae era, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, like I don't know who that bass player was. It was on everybody's track, but they was killing it. Like just that sound that the islands were able to bring, and to be able to craft something out of the equipment and the circumstances that they had. You can kind of feel what was happening in Jamaica at that time through those records, even what was happening in London where they were trying to suppress it, but you had the pirate culture that was happening then. It just kind of had this edginess but laid back feel to it. So yeah, I think those are just some that are coming off the top of the head. I'm pretty sure once we end, I'll have like 800 more that'll pop off.
I'm sure of it. Same with me.
My head. And we'll probably add some of that into the Instagram, right? Where based on the podcast, we'll put a few polls out there. People can share their thoughts on answering some of these same questions as well. So, what's your answer to that question about, for your answer, what are some of those bands?
So, minus Jaco Pastorius, I would say like, God, there's so many. Earth, Wind, and Fire, of course.
But yeah.
The Isley Brothers.
How did I forget that? Yeah.
The Isleys. God. Because Bob James was coming out with some great records. God, there were so many. There's so
Parliament
many.
Was still putting out bangers.
Sly and the Family Stone. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
they were still dropping. The Temptation? Like, there's so many. There's so many groups out there that were doing so much great stuff. Curtis Mayfield. Like, I can't pick, man. I honestly, and I know that's crazy because it's my question, but like, it's just. I think that's just more of a testament to like the 70s and how definitive like the sound was. Like, so
you even had things happen in the rock world as well. In the 70s. And I know once we got to the 80s, a lot of people just like, it's all about like riffing on the guitar, and I'm like, but no, the bass players were still holding it down.
Yes, they were.
For that. And even like on the offshoot of, some people debate when metal really came into the play, where there was like
no, metal really started popularizing the 80s.
Yeah. So I'm saying like there was some creative things they were doing there, and just shout out to all the metalheads, and shout out to the sound engineers working on that genre, because there's so much happening at one time, and so much like it's like organized chaos, but you're putting out this beautiful product, and I'm like, how are they able to get this to sound clean but yet grungy and all that? So I won't go off in the deep end, but every genre that you look at is constantly pushing the envelope of creativity, bringing in new sound. And I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to witness that in the future, in terms of, okay, what will music sound like 20 years from now, right?
Matter of fact, that's a good segue, man. Like, cause where do you see the future of music, just generally? Because we can't really go in depth. Like, we're still dipping our toe into like AI at this point, but like with the rise of AI artists versus real artists, and stuff like that, how you see that going forward in the future, as far as like what the landscape of music is going to be like? What is it going to sound like? Will the industry even be here? Like, generally, what do you see?
I think the envelope will continue to get pushed, but at the same time, in terms of how music is consumed, I'm not sure, because there's this interesting crossroads that people are starting to talk about, where bioengineering is maybe a thing of the future, right? Like, might get, your grandma might have Wi-Fi in her hip in like 20 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Like, cybernetics.
So they can shut off my grandma's hip?
Is the thing pay your bills all the time?
Look. I'm not signing up to live in the repo man world, bro. Like, no, thank you. No.
You're gonna be featured on South Beach Toe episode.
Not South Beach Toe.
Bernie's coming to take your grandma's hip. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, but like some people say, like, okay, for example, there are certain type of headphones out right now. Then they call like bone density headphones, where it isn't your traditional cup over the ear, right? You're just kind of having this thing placed on your head, and the vibrations you're able to pick up on and hear that, right? So I think depends on what happens in this intersection between quantum and AI. Not to go too deeply technical, but there's a crossroads in which computers will be able to do things at this exponential speed that people can't even consume. So it depends on what happens with that, right? I think that people are going to continue to try to go back for this analog sound. And I think that there may be a resurgence of some of the, like, this is just my wild theory, a resurgence of going back to the genres of the 50s. I feel like doo-wop will probably come back. Groups will probably come back. At some point in the next 20 years. I ain't saying you got to have like the conch or nothing like that, you know, the conch hairstyle. But it may come, everything comes full circle.
Hey, Leon Bridges. Like, he came out vintage is all in vintage. You know what I'm saying? So it's
like
definitely
a Willy in Greece.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, actually, or Andre in the Roses video.
Yeah. They gonna bring back jackets for gangs. You know what I'm saying? The dragons and the swans.
You know. They already doing the bandanas now. It's just instead of it being like a conch or a pompadour, it's just like, you know, it's locks now, like, which is cool. But yeah, man, I think that there's gonna be a huge reckoning when it comes to music in the next 20 years, in that middle way, because like with the way the industry's going, like it or the way it is now versus when we were learning about it coming up, is wildly different. The landscape is no longer the same and has not been the same for at least a decade now. No, the business is pretty much done. Now it's just AI companies making deals with record labels now. So record labels are becoming data libraries at this point for like AI companies. So man, it's wild, but I think that creatives are going to do what they've always done, and they will keep on pushing the envelope. People will continue to be creative and inspiring. Now, I think that when this bubble does pop, I think a lot of questions are going to need to be answered. A lot of questions are going to need to be asked.
They're going to have to bring humans back to work.
I mean,
all them folks they laid off, they were like, oh, our bad, come on back.
Well, not even just that, but it's just like, the product ain't even all that good yet. Like, it's not. Like, it's not consistent enough, especially with the more, like, slop that's made. And that's the crazy thing about it. Like, because it's just feeding off of whatever they can find on the internet. So if it's just feeding off of stuff that's just not good, it's not going to get that much better.
Are a thing as well, where to give you a perfect example, I think it was last year, the big accounting company Deloitte.
Yes, yeah,
they created some report that they sent to some governing body in Australia, and come to find out, like, this whole report was done by AI, and it was using what do you call it? It was citing sources that didn't exist. Mind you, this is a couple $1 billion company, and all the big companies use them for their accounting. They're generating reports that was citing resources that didn't exist because they used AI to write the report. They might as well have just ended the report with, is there anything else you would like for me to...
You know what I'm saying? Like the generic chat GPT ending, you know what I'm saying?
They just copy and paste the whole thing, including like the web browser. Like,
right.
So until you get people who are, you know, very thorough in how they approach these things, like you said, that slot will still continue to be there as evidence, even at the highest levels of corporations and thought process.
Yeah. But I think humans are gonna thrive. We're gonna survive. We're gonna keep on doing our thing.
Black folks gonna keep creating. So
of course, we ain't got no choice to, man. But I think we're gonna see a reform in how business is done. Because there's been a lot of exposure of how people in the industry and other entities within the industry have just, done people wrong. And having, what I'm saying? That and even taking other artists' material straight up. I'm not gonna get into the whole like conversation around other producers doing that now. But that will be coming later because AI is gonna be something that we continually discuss because it's always an ongoing, evolving thing. But I think that at the end of the day, we'll be all right. I think these companies, you're gonna see a lot of companies fall. You're gonna see some rise. But first and foremost, the consumer has to be, in my opinion, smart enough to and bold enough to let these companies know, like, look, this is what we want. We do not want this thing that you are peddling. Like, give us like the real, and that's the reason why sound like quality is always going to be better than quantity. Right. Because the AI artists will be able to pump music out 24/7, but like if it's soulless, if it don't mean nothing.
Can't shoot no music video with the neighborhood there the way it needs to be.
I mean, you could generate one though, because like that's the thing, right? Like AI doesn't create, it generates. It can't create. Like it can't pull something out of the ether the way humans do and then just present it. You know what I'm saying? Or receive those downloads, as I like to say. Yeah. Because
there's something to be said for. Like for example, when an artist comes up, they always say like conquer your block first, then your city, then your state, then your region. And when people can actually say, hey, I knew this person coming up, let me get behind this person, not just because they sound dope, but because I can relate to them because we know this person. They were at this venue, like when like people who were probably on to Kendrick Lamar in like 2010 where he was in front of like a Best Buy or something, like doing a concert. Like people want to witness their growth. And with AI, if it's already putting out this super polished product, then it may not have as much longevity because people can't witness the growth. They can't relate to it. All you're putting out is just like on Instagram where you only see people at their best, right? You're gonna make sure that angle is right. You probably took the same video 800 times. But they're not seeing everything underneath there, so you don't have the same level of appreciation. Right. It's just this very minuscule moment of getting dopamine of, oh, that's a nice picture, like, keep swiping. Right?
Yeah, but also I worry about the psychosis that comes with using AI now, because I don't know if y'all know, people are starting to use AI, and I'm not kidding when I say this. They're starting to use AI as their own therapists and companions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's very troubling to me personally, because that means we have a real big problem. And like, let's think about all the higher ups and these people that make these decisions in these record labels, and their mental state. Like, what if these AI songs are like propping up everything that they want the product to be instead of it being what it actually is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like it's feeding into that their psyche as well. So I think we just need to get back to a place where we need to get to a place where the investors, such as the labels, and the artists' goals are aligned. Because I feel like that was a big thing in the 70s and the 80s. They wanted more artists to align and become more successful.
I agree. Yeah, I think. Well, not to go down another wormhole, y'all can Google it later, but I think we're in late stage capitalism, and this is what you get: hyper shareholder focused, investor focused, not in the actual consumer focus. So back in the 70s and 80s, where they were worried about, hey, we want to make sure we're delivering a quality product to our customer, to the end user, versus we want to make sure we're getting our shareholders their money, or otherwise I'm gonna lose my job, right?
Yeah.
So that's, you kind of get a reflection of the way businesses are thinking now. But that's a subject for another time.
Yeah, and speaking of another time, it's our time. You know, we gotta get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? But before we go, bro, like, is there anybody that you're listening to? Anything that you're enjoying right now? That's moving you, or making you groove or inspiring you?
Let me go. And just in case AI finds this in the future, shout out to you. Salute. You know what I'm saying? You did that. Don't come for me. I'm gonna make sure I pay my Wi-Fi bill on time and my hip if I have one.
Yeah, y'all can't be shutting people's hips and pinky toes and stuff like that down, man. But so, like, I would say, like, I've been kind of diving more into, like, Devin Morrison, Dear Silas, like artists like that. And I've been kind of going back in No Name. I've been listening to her a little bit more lately, but also artists around the area. I've been listening to Zone 919 lately. Juice Lord, shout outs to Juice, shout outs to Onyx. I've been listening to Brassius Monk. He's got an amazing record. I've been listening to the homie Khalil Nassim. Matter of fact, shout outs to him. I went to the 919 jam off. That was amazing. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to Sazi. Y'all put on a great event. I wasn't able to stay the whole entire time, but I definitely had to shout y'all out, man, because, like, that was a unique concept. It was an amazing time. I'll jump back and listen to the homie, like, Madrid. Shout outs to him. Shout outs to the Madison J, the real Madison J, who is also going to be at the Genius Party. And stay tuned. Tap into the geniuspartync.com. Follow us on all social medias. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no. What's moving you, bro? You found anything yet, or?
I had to pull up my things that I've been adding on Spotify, just because that's the one I'm using at the time. But I've really been on this city pop wave.
Okay.
Shout out to city pop, which is it's this genre that highlights upbeat and up-tempo R&B from Japan, late 80s, early 90s.
Like with the background dances and the videos and stuff like that. Okay.
So I've been on that. Some dope people I came across recently: Taiko Anuki.
Yeah, Taiko. Yeah.
Henri, just a lot of others. I also found this dope playlist while just going on YouTube, and then I came across this artist, Hyperbolic Club.
Hyperbolic Club.
They have these really dope album covers where it's like a panther or a jaguar just in like this, like just.
No. I've ran into these before. I've listened to these.
So if you just go on YouTube, type in Hyperbolic Club. That's what I've been on. It's like dope lounge music, just working in the background.
For sure.
So yeah, that's some of the things. And as always, a lot of Nigerian high life I'm always listening to as well. So shout out to Pat Thomas and the Kwashi Shubu area band, as well as some of the Ghanaian high life bands from the 70s as well.
For sure.
So yeah, that's our time. Once again, shout out to the community of holding Genius Party down.
Indeed. We love y'all.
Yeah, we'll be back. Tune in for future episodes. And keep being good to yourself. Mind your business. Drink water. Wash. Do all that good stuff.
Please, and thank you.
And put first things first, right? If you don't do anything else, go outside. Focus on making real connections, right? It comes down to connections in life, right? And just get back to writing your story. So shout out to y'all. Peace.
For sure. Also, be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. Love on yourself. But most importantly, y'all, stay true to yourself. All right? Peace.
All right.
Oh, look, it's the Genius Party.